Hello everyone. This video is going to help you solve questions from one of the most important aptitude topic. Can you guess the name of the topic from these pictures? Yes, it is time, speed and distance. So as we know, time, speed and distance are three different quantities which can be related to each other with the help of the triangle. So you can remember the relations between these three quantities with the help of these triangles, wherein the distance is given by the product of speed and time you can calculate as distance by speed, and speed you can calculate as distance by time. But not only these three triangles or these three hints are going to help you solve questions out of this topic, but you need to have certain strategies and tricks in order to solve complex questions based on this topic. There are a lot of possibilities to get a real-time based questions from this topic. So we take the strategies and tricks as distance reference, time reference, comparisons and average speed. Now, the easiest method or the easiest way that you can sort out or bring a question to one of these strategies is just by practicing them a lot. So you practice a lot of questions in order to understand which strategy to follow for which question. Let us take a very basic example. This is just a very simple scenario that everybody would have faced or might have faced in a real-time situation. So let's say that I wanted to reach some place. I'm taking my cycle in order to reach that place, and I started at 7 a.m. in the morning. I know my cycling speed is 5 km per hour. So the idea or the information as of now is I wanted to reach a place. I started cycling and my cycling speed is 5 km per hour. I'm traveling by cycle. I started at 7 a.m. And I did not reach the place actually, but at some point of time or at some distance, my cycle went out of order. So I was waiting there for 1 hour seeking for help. I could not find anybody there. So after 1 hour, I understood that nobody is going to help me. So I took my cycle carrying all the way back home and I started walking. So by the time I reached home, it is 2 p.m. and my walking speed is 1 km per hour. So I repeat the entire data once again. I am traveling by cycle. I wanted to reach some place. My cycling speed is 5 km per hour. I started at 7 a.m. and at some point of time there was some issue. So I was waiting there for 1 hour for somebody to help me out, and nobody helped. Nobody came into the picture. So I started carrying my cycle. I walked all the way back home carrying my cycle as such, and my walking speed is 1 km per hour. So by the time I reached home, it is 2 p.m. Now the question here is, what would have been the total distance that I would have traveled, that is to and fro. So what would have been the total distance that I would have traveled? So now you can pause the video, take your time and just guess the answers. Yes, so let me just solve this and you can verify your answers as such. So as you know, I started at 7 o'clock and I came back at 2 o'clock. My speed is 5 km per hour and my return speed is 1 km per hour, right? Now what is the total time that I had spent outside? 7 o'clock till 2 o'clock, that is 7 to 8, 8 to 9, 10, 11, 12, 1 and 2. So totally 7 hours is that I had spent outside. So out of which 1 hour went in for rest. So 7 minus 1. This 6 hours is nothing else but the time taken for me to cycle and the time taken for me to walk. So I am just writing CY for cycling and WA for walking. So 6 hours is nothing else but the time taken for me to cycle and the time taken for me to walk. Now, as we know, speed is given by distance by time taken, and you know time is equal to distance by speed. So in the place of time, I'm going to place distance. So let us just keep distance as d because that distance from point A, let's take this as point A and point B. So the distance from point A to point B and point B to point A is again the same. So I'm going to take them as d. So d divided by speed, the speed which I traveled by cycle is 5 plus d divided by 1, that is 1 is nothing else but the time taken for me to walk. So this is nothing else but 6. So you know what 6 is all about. So 7 o'clock to 2 o'clock is totally 7 hours, and 7 hours minus 1 hour. 1 hour is the time taken for me to rest. So 7 minus 1 is 6. So 6 hours or 6 is equal to d by 5 plus d by 1. Now this is a very easy fraction that you can solve. 6 will be equal to, this is, I mean when you take LCM, d plus 5d, which is equal to 6d. 6d divided by 5. Okay, so from which you can easily cancel out 6 and you can very well say that your d is equal to 5. That is, the distance from point A to point B is 5. When I'm asking you the total distance, it is 5 kilometer from point A to point B plus 5 kilometer. Yeah, 5 kilometer to point A to point B plus 5 kilometer from point B to point A. So totally it is 10 kilometers that I had traveled from 7 a.m. till 2 p.m. So this is just a very simple scenario, and here we have taken, can you guess what reference we have taken? Of course, we have taken the time reference. As in the previous slide says, this question is all about the time reference. So likewise, you can identify a question which you can solve by using your time reference, or solve by using your distance reference, or solve by using average speed, or solve by using the other technique mentioned. So let us go for another example. So here is that a toy train travels equal distance with three different speeds of 3, 4 and 5 km per hour, taking rest for 2 times in between of 1.5 minute. It takes a total time of 50 minutes for the whole journey. So what is the total distance in kilometers? So now again in the question, if you can read twice, you can easily understand that you are provided a total time of 50 minutes. So let's understand the question first. So here is where the toy train starts. Let's say this is point A. So it travels with three different speeds. So this is point B where it travels at a speed of 3 km per hour. And here it is point C. So point B to point C, it travels at a speed of 4 km per hour. And point C to point D where it travels at a speed of 5 kilometers per hour. So we have the toy train traveling three equal distances. So you can mention the distance between point A to point B as D, again point B to point C as D, and point C to point D as D again. So these three intervals are equal distances, but the only that the speed differs. So it is also taking rest for 2 times in between of 1.5 minutes. So here is some 1.5 minute and here is some 1.5 minute. So totally from point A to point D, it takes a time of 50 minutes. Remember that out of 50 minutes, 1.5 plus 1.5, which is equal to 3 minutes, goes in for rest. So 50 minus 3 is 47 minutes. So this 47 minutes is nothing else but the time taken for the train to travel from point A to point B, plus the time taken for the train to travel from point B to point C, plus the time taken for the train to travel from point C to point D. Now here we have to notice one important thing. This 47 is in minutes, whereas all the speeds given here are in kilometers per hour. So let me convert this 47 minutes also into hour by just taking 60 as in the denominator. So 47 by 60 is going to give you, so time, as we know, speed is distance by time and time is distance by speed. So let's take distance as d divided by speed is 3 plus d divided by 4 plus d divided by 5. So here is your one spot equation in order to find the answer. So of course 3, 4 and 5, you can take the LCM as 60 again. So 47 divided by 60 will be equal to, I'm going to take 60 this side. So this is 20d plus, here it is 15d plus, this is d plus 12d. So when we add 15, 20 and 12, we again get 47. So 47 by 60 will be equal to 47d divided by 60. So we can cancel everything out and finally we say the value of d is 1. Here we are supposed to find the total distance, that is d plus d plus d, which is 1 plus 1 plus 1, and the result is 3 kilometers. So moving towards the next question, of course, the previous question we again took the time as the reference part there. So here, two trains start from two different stations which are 435 kilometers apart. One of the trains starts at 12 noon and the other at 1 p.m. The speeds of the train are 35 and 45 kilometers per hour. At what time do they meet if they are traveling in the opposite directions? So again, let us take, there are two trains. I'm going to take this as station A and this as station B. There are different methods to solve this question. Let's solve in the maximum time possible. So point A and point B. So here the train starts at 12 noon and this travels at a speed of 35 kilometers per hour. And here in the from the station B, the train starts at 1 p.m. and it travels at a speed of 45 kilometers per hour, isn't it? So now the distance between them is 435 kilometers. Now what happens? Both of them are traveling in the opposite direction. Let's say 12 o'clock the train starts, and it's a very simple common sense, like from 12 to 1. I'm going to take this as 1 p.m. So from 12 to 1, the train A would have covered 35 kilometers. Is it right? So train A would have covered for 35 kilometers. So now the distance between, let us take this point as C. So now the distance between point C and point B is 400 minus 35, which is just 400 kilometers. Okay, 400 kilometers. Both of them are 400 kilometers are apart. And this is, it starts at 1 and this also starts at 1. So now you can easily say that this starts at 1 p.m. This also starts at 1 p.m. And this is traveling at a speed of 35 and this is traveling at a speed of 45. So distance between them, or the time taken for both the trains to meet, is nothing else but the distance divided by their relative speed. So the relative speed, since they are traveling in the opposite direction, is the sum of both the speeds. So distance between them is 400 divided by 35 plus 45, which is nothing else but 80. So you calculate and say that the time is 5 hours. That is exactly, it takes 5 hours from 1 p.m. for both of them to meet. So from 1 p.m., 5 hours is nothing else but 6 p.m. and option C will be your answer. So this is one way of solving. You can also solve this question by another strategy. Let me just give you a brief. You can try by yourself and give me your answers, or give me your suggestions in the comment. Let me just tell you how or what will be the second strategy. See, I'm just going to take again the same thing, point A and point B. So this starts at 12 and this starts at 1 p.m. This is at a speed of 35 and this is at a speed of 45 kilometer per hour. Let's take they meet at X hours after 12 noon. I'm just going to take that they are going to meet X hours after 12 noon. And here I'm going to take the reference of the distance. So the total distance is 435 kilometers between them. So this total distance 435 is nothing else but the distance traveled by train A plus the distance traveled by train B. And you know, distance is speed into time, from which you can easily calculate. Okay, so you can calculate and tell me your views in the comment. Let us move to the next question. Yes, so this is another interesting question here. A car travels for 11 hours. Out of this, it travels 100 kilometers at a certain speed, and then it increases its speed by 15 kilometers to cover the remaining 280 kilometers. Find the time taken to travel the span of 280 kilometers. So here, let's take at a certain speed, the certain speed as X kilometers per hour, and you have been given the total time, which is 11 hours. So this 11 hours is nothing else but the time taken for the car to travel 100 kilometers plus the time taken for the car to travel 280 kilometers. So if you're going to derive equation, a typical equation, or solve by the conventional method, this says time. So you know speed is equal to distance by time, and time will be equal to distance by speed. So distance is 100 divided by speed is x, plus distance is 280, and this is divided by x plus 15, because it's going to be an increase in the speed by 15 kilometers. Okay, so you solve the equation x into x plus 15, you take as a denominator 100 into x plus 15 plus 280 into x will be equal to 11, and then do all calculations, bring the answer down. But I am not going to solve with the regular conventional method. Let us go from the choice. See here, you're supposed to find the time it takes to travel the span of 280 kilometer. That is, this is your question. Okay, so the answer choices is all this. So if my answer choice is going to be 5, 5 plus something is going to give me 11. So 5 plus 6 gives me 11. Okay, if my answer choice is 6, I'm just giving you an option. So 6, and this should be 5. If my answer choice is 7, then this should be 4. And if my answer choice is 8, then this should be 3. So these are the possibilities. Now let us check one by one. If at all, I'm going to take 280 divided by x plus 15 as 5. Okay, I need to find the value of x, so I bring 5 down. Then this becomes 280 divided by 5 will be equal to x plus 15. This may seem to be a complicated calculation, but it is very, very simple. I'm just going to take this as 10. So this is 2, and this is 28 into 2 gives me 56. So x plus x will be equal to 56 minus 15. I am just going to get some answer, but if at all that answer, when going to be divided by 100, is it going to give me 6? Of course, 100 divided by any number doesn't give me 6 at all. So I just omit this option. I don't even have to calculate this. It's very common sense. 100 divided by some number, it's just never going to give me 6 at any cost. So I omit option A. Okay, now let's come for option B. So if it is 6, then this has to be 5. Yes, 100 by some number can be 5. If 100 by some number is going to be 5, what is that? X going to be 100 by x is equal to 5. Okay, 100 by x is equal to 5, and then x should be equal to 20. So 20, if I'm going to substitute here, 20 plus 15 gives me 35. Okay, so 2280 divided by, or you can just come from the beginning itself. So 280 divided by x plus 15, if it is going to be 6, I can bring 6 here, take x plus 15 there, but 280 cannot be, I mean, when I'm going to divide 280 by 6, I would never get a whole number. So I would remove this choice also. Let's go for the next option. 4 and 7 seem to be a possible value, because 100 by some number gives me 4, of course, yes. And 280 by x plus 15 can be 7. So let's calculate this and see. 280 divided by x plus 15 is 7. So by 7 will be equal to x plus 15. So if I take this is 40. So 40 is equal to x plus 15. The value of x is going to be 25. Yes, 100 by 25 gives me 4. So this is the possible combination. And I cannot have 8 and 3. Of course, that's not possible at all. So I would go with option C, which is 7 hours from this. Okay, so I did not solve I didn't solve this question at all. I just framed the equation, and from the options, we got to know the correct answer. So this is another important strategy that you need to understand and follow. Moving towards the next question, an increase in the speed of a car by 10 km per hour saves 30 minutes in a journey of 100 km. Find the initial speed. So the conventional method is that 100 kilometers is your fixed speed. So the fixed distance, I'm sorry. The distance is never changed. Now what happens? See, I know speed or distance will be equal to speed into time. Okay, so let us just take speed, some speed or car travel speed of a car by 10 kilometer, increase some speed into time, which is just going to be 100. And if I'm going to increase the speed, so s plus 10 into time decreases by 30 minutes. So t minus 30 minutes is half an hour. T minus half is equal to 100. So what you can do is relate these two equations, bring a quadratic equation and solve, which is again a a typical conventional method, which is again a time consuming process. So instead, we have a very simple strategy to solve that. And that takes, the hint of a dividendo and compilendo possibility. So what is meant by dividendo and compilendo, and when do I apply? See, I apply this dividendo and compilendo a hint whenever the distance is same. Whenever it is a same distance, I go for this concept. And this concept says product of speed. This is very important. Product of speed divided by distance will be equal to distance divided by product of time, which is again equal to difference in speed by difference in time, or I write it here, difference in speed divided by difference in time. This is very, very important, and it is actually going to help you solve lot of questions within probably 10 or 15 seconds max. Okay, so when do I apply? Again, I apply this concept whenever the distance is same. So it says the product of speed by distance equal to distance by product of time, which is again equal to difference in speed by difference in time. So let's say I mean you have to compare either. Let us consider this as A, consider this as B, and consider this as C. Either compare A with C or compare B with C, and this will be decided by the question. From this question, it says the speed of the car you're increasing by 10, and you save a time of 30 minutes, and you have to find the initial speed. So since I'm supposed to find the initial speed, I compare A and C. So product of speed, I'm going to take the initial speed as x and the new speed as x plus 15, x into x plus 15, divided by distance. Distance I know, which is already given 100 kilometer, will be equal to difference in speed. Difference in speed is just 15 divided by difference in time. Difference in time is 30 minutes. So 30 by 60, or I can take 1 by 2. 1 by 2, I'll take 2 here. So this is like sorry, difference in speed is 10. It is not 15. Difference in speed is 10. Yeah, so the difference in speed is 10. So x into x plus 10 divided by 100 will be equal to 10 into, or 10 divided by half. Half, I mean the denominator I took to the numerator again. So now it is like x into x plus 10 will be equal to 2 into 10, which is 20, and this 100 also I take to the other side, which is going to be 2000. And don't ever try to form a quadratic equation again. You are just going to multiply two numbers whose product has to be 2000 and the differences between them has to be 10. So let's factorize 2000 here. See, 2000 easily you can factorize and say 20 and 10, to 2000. So 20 and 100, or 20 into 100 is going to give you 2000, but the difference between them is 80. So I'll go with 40 and 50. Yeah, 40 into 50 gives you 2000, but the difference is again 10. So these are the numbers. So x is 40 and x plus 10 is 50. And you're supposed to find the initial speed, which is x, and that is 40 kilometer per hour will be your answer. So likewise, you can solve many questions within exactly 10 or 15 seconds max, and you can save a lot of time for the other questions or other concepts as such. And remember, this dividendo and compilendo theorem you can use only when the distance is same. So there's another question, another easy question where you can apply the dividendo and compilendo. Why? Because if I walk at 4 km per hour, I miss the bus by 10 minutes. So I'm going to walk from my home to reach the bus stand, which is the same distance again. So if I'm going to take this speed, I miss the bus by 10 minutes. And if I'm going to take this speed, I arrive 5 minutes before the arrival of the bus. So how far I walk to reach the bus stand? So it is again, I take the product of speed. I'm going to take 4 into 5. Product of speed divided by distance. Distance is what I need to find, will be equal to difference in speed. Difference in speed is 1 divided by difference in time taken. Difference in time taken. See, 10 minutes miss. So I come 10 minutes late and I come 5 minutes earlier. So 10 plus 5 is 15 minutes. So 15 minutes, since this is in kilometers per hour, so 15 by 60, I'll take the denominator, 60 goes to the numerator here. So 60 by 15 is nothing else but 4. So 4 and 4 I can cancel, and my distance is 5 kilometers. So hardly 10 seconds to give you the answer. So the distance between my bus stand and my home is 5 kilometers. I hope this video would have helped you think the concept of time, speed, and distance in a different aspect. More examples and tricks probably in the next video. Thank you so much for watching.